above where the body was temporarily buried. They point to signs of a square-cut grave hewn by hand from the rock. They claim the local church provides evidence of Arthur's family links with the area. Burial stones they regard as vital clues in their historical detective work.
And this is the stone of Paul, son of Myrick, a brother of King Arthur.
At Ogmore Castle, just down the road, they cite another stone actually naming a King Arthmail, which they translate as Arthur. Wilson and Blackett have now filled several volumes with their exhaustive fieldwork and research, a mass of evidence from so many sources that even academics find it hard to contradict. This bleak hillside, 1,000 feet up, marks the end of their quest. In a church they describe as the Westminster Abbey of the Dark Ages. Wilson and Blackett claim it's cost them their homes, their jobs, and £100,000 to find this spot and say with confidence that here lies King Arthur.
So they're not the only experts who claim that King Arthur was a South Wales king. We've got Professor Morgan of Cardiff University stating this on film, which has been screened on Rich Planet, the author Chris Barber and various other experts. This is the kind of genealogical chart that Wilson and Blackett have produced over the years. We've got King Arthur here, who's dying in 579 AD. Now, if you go on Wikipedia, you will find some of the names on this chart, but you certainly won't find the King Arthurs. And that's because it's something that the establishment has covered up. And the reasons for that, well, we can speculate. Imagine they're digging up a huge historical figure of British history in South Wales. It's a bit like the Braveheart thing, except King Arthur actually won his battles. So this could be something, it could be the thin end of a wedge which the British establishment may not like. Here's Alan Wilson at work at his house, and you go in their house, it's just full of ancient documents and evidence. And the difference between Wilson and Blackett and university historians is that they don't have students to teach. They can set their own agenda and go off and find new evidences, which not many historians do. And the bleak hillside that was screened there in the BBC article is just here. It's just northeast of Bridgend. It's probably about 25 miles from where we are now as the crow flies in Glamorgan. And it's a place called St. Peter's Supermontum, and this is the church here. Now, that article from the BBC was 1986. They actually had this church excavated in 1990, although the BBC didn't come to film it, but they should have. And it seems that once the information about Wilson and Blackett's research had reached the higher levels of the British establishment, I think something was put in place to suppress their work. It was something that was not going to be accepted. But they ploughed on with their research and they excavated this ruined church, one of the oldest churches in Europe, in 1990. And one of the things that was found in that excavation is this. This is a solid electrum cross, and on it is inscribed Pro Anima Artorius, which means for the soul of Arthur. Now, I don't think you're going to get much more concrete evidence than that, other than actually finding his body of King Arthur being a South Wales king. This is a close-up. This is possibly Arthur on his horse. Now, this is a certificate which shows the metal content of that cross. They have had it independently tested, and it says on the certificate, the metal cross, which is 79% silver and weighs around 2.5 pounds. The metal content of silver with other metals is consistent with artefacts and relics of antiquity. So you can get an approximate date based on the percentages of different metals, and it is from Dark Ages. Now, as I said, this evidence has been denied by the establishment cover-up. There's been more than one murder attempt of Wilson and Blackett, and if you don't believe that, just have a look on my website and watch all of the programmes which presents all of the evidence of the murder attempts, the smear attempts in the media. It's absolutely disgusting. Now, I asked Alan Wilson who actually excavated that cross, who found the cross, because I wanted to get independent evidence. I wanted, as I said in part 1, don't believe anything that you see or hear, go and find it out for yourself. So I wanted to ask and find the person who dug that cross up. Alan told me it was Richard Melbourne, but he'd been informed by a Welsh journalist that Richard Melbourne had passed away. So I then endeavoured to find Richard Melbourne's wife, just so that I could get some independent corroboration that yes, he did dig this cross up, and yes, she can remember when it happened. So I went to his house in Maesteg, knocked on the door. Who answers the door? Richard Melbourne. He's still alive. So I then ring Alan Wilson, and I give the phone to Richard Melbourne, and the two of them had an hour-long conversation reminiscing about the dig, you name it. So he was really pleased that his friend, because Wilson and Blackett now live in the northeast of England, they live in Newcastle. So Richard Melbourne then says to me, well, do you want to come up to the church and I'll actually show you where I found the cross? I said I'd love to. So I went up there. This was just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That's me and Richard outside St Peter's Church in Glamorgan, and he's pointing there exactly where he dug the cross up. And I've made a piece for the Rich Planet TV show all about this, all about Richard Melbourne, lovely bloke, 80 years old, and as I say, he got one of his mates in a 4x4 to take us up the mountain. Right, I'm in a place called Maesteg, which is not far from Bridgend, and I'm with Richard Melbourne. Now, Richard took part in the archaeological dig organised by Alan Wilson in 1990 of St Peter's Church. Now, on that dig, there was an artefact found, which and Richard was the person who actually dug the thing up. This was the Electrum cross. That's right. With Pro Anima Artorius written on it. So, can you just tell us first, Richard, how did you get involved with Alan Wilson, and what was it that got you onto the dig?
Well, I was always interested in Welsh history, you know, and a mate of mine was a mate of Alan Wilson's. Mm-hmm. And he was saying about this dig up in Supermountain, this church. Would you like to go on it? I said, yeah, I'd love to. So anyway, he arranged for me to go up, and you had to have a permit to get on site. He got me a permit, I went on site. I was there for, I don't know, about a month, I suppose.
What sort of tools did he use?
Well, I was on a trowel, you know.
On a trowel, and what were you be given specific areas to go down?
Yeah, scraping away, boring stuff, all boring stuff, but you know, it has to be done. And this day, I was scraping. It was deep. It must have been on the floor level, around the floor level. It must have been a dirt floor in that church. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I was scraping away, and I thought, it's a funny place for a bicycle pedal to be, because all I could see that bit of silver, you know.
Right.
So I kept scraping away the front of it, and when I'd scraped all the front off, now that cross wasn't showing where Pro Anima Artorius was. That was the other way.
Right. So it was face down.
Yeah. Well, it was at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
I scraped it off, put the trowel behind it. You can imagine what I thought. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the dig, isn't it?
Right.
Now, I didn't know the significance of Pro Anima Artorius.
Right.
But I did know the significance of Artorius.
Right.
But not this first two.
So you knew that Artorius was a reference to Arthur?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. So anyway.
So was it easy enough to read once you'd lifted it up?
Yeah, I had to clean it off. There was oxides on it and all that, you know. Mm-hmm. But the imprint of that cross was still there. Mm-hmm. So, you know...
after you'd taken it out? Then
yeah, it had been there a long time, like, obviously, for it to be there, the imprint of it.
Right. And I've got an aerial view of the church, Richard. Yeah. Would you just point out on there approximately where it's around about this point here? So inside the church, I guess this is another entrance here to the left.
Yeah.
So a little way in here. So how long did the dig last for?
But the dig itself, I think, lasted about a month, 5 weeks, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right, Richard. And how many people were involved in the dig on a day-to-day basis?
There must have been about 6 or 8, I suppose.
Right.
Including Alan and
And were you involved in putting the tarpaulin over the over the church?
No.
That was like contractors or something.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Right,
yeah.
okay. Alan has told the story about how there was a huge gale which kind of wrecked the.
It's terrible.
So can you just explain that? Were you there when?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. And Alan said that there was some of the documents were found in nearby valleys and this kind of thing, because people actually brought them back. And
I suppose it was. Oh yeah, there was documents. They was on a tape, if I remember.
after you found it and took it out of the ground,
Yeah.
Who did you tell first?
There was a chap there called Martin Langford, the archaeologists. I don't think Alan was there. I think he was off site.
Yeah, he's told me that he wasn't there. He wasn't.
No.
He wasn't on the site. So just tell us how it then. Did you just tell us what happened after you got it out the ground?
Well, we were all excited looking at it, and time went on. Alan come back on site. There was great excitement, wasn't it?
Right.
Especially with me when I found out what the significance of the cross was.
Right.
And it just went on from there, really. With the bloke with the camera, I know, he was there with a young lady, I forget her name anyway.
So they were filming
Yeah.
the dig, which incidentally Alan can't get hold of at the moment. That film has been sort of
I don't
made unavailable.
Yeah, I didn't see it myself.
You didn't see it?
No.
I don't think anyone's seen it. What about the theory that Arthur's body is in that region somewhere? Do you go along with that, Richard?
Oh yeah, definite. If you read Perseverance and everything, it points to that. That's the area where he is, like.
Right. And do you think he's in the church or in the mound or
I
somewhere?
think he's in the mound myself, in the boat.
Right, the boat-shaped burial mound.
Yeah.
Right, which is not far from there. It's
This is right from here
next
to the end of the street.
Can I just ask, did you get paid for your work on the dig?
No, I
So
didn't.
you were
Wasn't
voluntary?
paid. No,
But I think the archaeologists were paid, were they?
I expect so. I don't
Right,
know.
okay. And did you have any involvement with Alan and Barham after that time?
Oh yeah. When some chap, I forget his name, he's from my state, he reckoned that that cross was planted there, which it wasn't, definitely not.
Right.
Couldn't have been, impossible for it to be.
Yeah.
Because I know the imprint of that cross was in that earth. Now that couldn't happen if it was planted there.
Yeah. I mean, this is something which certain people have put out this information, and this guy from Mysteg's obviously heard this from someone who's maybe trying to cast aspersions on it.
Well, the inference was I would have been involved in a scam, like, which I wasn't. I found the cross. I know what happened. I was there. For anybody to say that cross was planted there would have to be there and see. And even if they was there and seen, they wouldn't have made that statement.
Yeah.
Because oxides, they can't put oxides on it, can they?
Yeah.
You get it off stone and earth and all that. But they were.
Was there anything else of interest found on that site?
Not really.
Because I understand there were some human remains there.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Right. Okay. So this was some graves that were.
Yeah, well, on a higher level, like,
Right.
we went down past them, but it was all treated with respect, like, and that.
After the dig had finished, were you not frustrated that you couldn't dig down further and see if there was more artifacts? Did you think there might have been something more things there?
I don't know. I don't know.
Would you like to see an excavation of the mound?
Oh yeah, yeah, definite.
Right.
There's something of importance there for that church to be there, because that church was put there to honour whoever's in that mound, I think.
Right.
Who that is, I don't know.
Right.
It could be the
King Arthur.
King Arthur, it could be.
Right. And what about further afield than that particular site, other than the church and the mound? Do you have any knowledge of any other sites, Richard?
Well, up in the forestry have covered a lot of evidence up, for no other reason to grow trees, nothing
Right.
sinister about it. It's just that they grow trees there. But there's mounds all over the forestry up here.
Right.
There's a Roman fort there, there's an ancient British fort there, the Bulwark, and it's all there. And there's a fort, like, what I have read, that the British were fighting a rearguard action, and their family was going ahead of them. They caught him at this place called Cwmlladfa, which means Valley of Slaughter.
Right.
In England. And right there, to the left, there's an ancient British fort.
What's your opinion of Alan Wilson in terms of a historian? Just give us a bit of background on what you know about Alan Wilson.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And
He's got a mind like a computer. He has them. You ask him anything. And he'll back up everything he says, mate.
Yeah.
Where you can check.
They've had quite a lot of problems over the years in trying to get their work recognised. What's your opinion of that? Have you got an opinion on why it's not being accepted?
Well, I think it's the English establishment, to be honest, historians and all that. And they won't sit down with Alan and discuss history. They won't. As he said, would you get into the ring with Mike Tyson? I've seen him on that. And he was right. Why don't they sit down and talk about it?
Yeah.
Because he'd lose them. And the other reason is because, in all fairness, Alan have slagged the royal establishment off, like, from Victorian times. Most of the stones is stolen, for want of a better word. All the stones in Wales. But why do they try to hide British Welsh history? They don't want us. They don't want us. They will cast us aside.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're maybe worried that there'll be some sort of upsurgence of national identity, which was they're going to lose part of their empire, maybe.
Yeah, a bit late for that now, isn't it? But you know, it's terrible what's been happening. I think the world of Alan, I got to be honest with you, and I haven't blinded my judgment on him because I like him or anything like that. It's just everything I have read, he backed up. Backed up. All right. He called German George. You know, the establishment don't like talk like that. They even said the German Queen, like Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah, I think.
And they don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's told me he is happy to speak to establishment people, and he is happy to go along with the current regime.
Yeah.
And not criticise the royals. He said that.
A bit late now, isn't it?
You know that what Alan says is he'd rather have Queen Elizabeth than President Cameron or President Blair.
Yeah.
He's saying that the royal is better than having.
Yeah, she does a good job, doesn't she?
Well,
well,
I'll not make a comment on that, Richard. His historical research kind of undermines the royals, but at the same time, he realises that they ultimately are the power. Therefore, he's not going to get anywhere with his history unless it's accepted by them.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit of a job.
But there's an author called Adrian Gilbert who worked with Alan and Barham on one of their books, The Holy Kingdom. I think that was the one that you showed me, wasn't it? You said that you had a copy of The Holy Kingdom.
Yeah, I got it in there. Yeah.
He's written a new book apparently, and what he's trying to do in that book is he's took Prince William's genealogy via his mother, Princess Diana, and he's trying to find links to Arthurian monarchy through Diana. So they're trying to bring in and show that William, the future king, has got some British
Welsh.
Yeah. So. Now, why Adrian Gilbert's doing that is, you maybe ask him that, but I guess half of Wales could probably show that they're related to this heritage.
Well, I can take you 8 miles from here and introduce you to a chap who was Eve traced his lineage back to Ayeston ap Crugan.
Right.
And he's a farmer.
Right.
So.
All right, Richard. Well, thanks for speaking to us. And Richard's kindly offered the use of a 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So at some point later in the week, we're going to have a drive up to St. Peter's Church and maybe film the exact spot where you unearthed the Electrum Cross.
Yeah, it's not only that. You see the boat, but it's there. And somebody tried to say, "Oh, it's a sheep pen." Now, if it's a sheep pen, you don't have a narrow opening for the sheep to go in. They have a wide opening.
Yeah.
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 But it comes to a point.
All right.
And the road have been altered going to it.
Right. Well, we can film the mound as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for speaking to me today, Richard.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. We're getting a lift off Richard's friend called Terry. Richard's friend Terry has got a four-wheel drive that we're going to get in.
When I was up there, it's 20 years ago, mate. It was an Electra, silver and gold mixed, you know. All right. I mean, for 10% anyway. 10%. I hope you're recording this.
He's so cut the bits out that he don't want, don't he?
No, don't cut that out. You show it to us. I want 10%.
Who is this Wilson bloke?
He's a historian, you know.
All right.
Very clever man.
And it's in his possession, is it?
Yeah. Well, it was his Dixie.
All right. His dig it was it?
Yeah.
And how old do you reckon this cross was?
It's from about 579 AD.
Good God.
That's the time of Arthur, see. There was no graves there, like in the church where I found it.
Yeah.
It must have been the aisle or something, we were walking up the aisle. And I reckon there must have been a dirt floor there, you know.
There's a ruined church up here, St.
Right.
Peter's, and
Right.
the guy who bought it, or the two guys who bought it, Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett, they put a fence right the way around it,
Right.
because they bought the land,
Right.
but it was just ripped down and
Oh, derelict like.
yeah, it's a derelict church, but they've tried to protect it because it's of historical importance.
Yeah, that's right.
And but there's just all of the livestock, sheep and cows and stuff.
It's just overrun.
Yeah, it's just overrun it like.
Yeah.
But there's parts of it still really need excavating, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's a mound there, which there could be anything in there.
Good. And they still own it to this day, like?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, so we're not trespassing.
Yeah. So if we're in the church and the
Yeah.
farmer tells us to get off the land,
Yeah.
we know we're all right. I think.
We're now right.
We'll just give Alan a ring.
No, we're all right anyway, because it's public right away. Above the
it?
church, right?
There's a thoroughfare through there, is it?
Yeah. We take that up.
Do you think they've actually changed, the farmers changed the road at all there, Richard? Has there been, or is it?
Yeah, I'll show you when I get up there now.
Right.
They went right through the board.
Is that a bit naughty then, were they not
It
supposed
was a bit naughty, yeah. I don't know who done it, mate.
Right,
You can't say that farmer or this farmer did it.
right.
Farmers haven't got no consideration
No.
for the past. They move a boundary, they'll
Yeah.
change a boundary, they'll put a road in whenever they want a road, make life easier for themselves, do
That's
they?
right. You know, they shouldn't have done it. Because the road used to go round the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
Now it's cutting
Go through it.
some of the boat, yeah.
All right, okay, this is the boat-shaped burial mound.
Yeah.
But the farmer may not even know that it's an ancient mound.
No. That's right.
There's probably no, because some of these mounds have got, they are recognised as ancient monuments. Some
Yeah,
of them,
right.
they've got plaques on them,
Yeah,
but they're
right.
generally described as Norman. But
Yeah.
obviously, Alan would say they're not Norman at all. They're much earlier.
They're ancient British.
Ancient British.
Yeah.
Big photograph of that.
Right. So we're part way up the mountain, and Richard's just pointing out this tumulus. Yeah. So there's a tumulus there, which is a mound of some kind. I think it's a burial mound. The farmers ploughed the field all around it. So that's a bit of archaeology there in the middle of that field.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just zoom out. Okay. Well, we're heading on up towards St. Peter's Church, which is in this direction. Up this track here.
Yeah. Well, that is a defence system there, see?
Defence system.
Yeah. Of the fort.
Okay.
Watching this. I don't think your car would have got up here, Rich.
I don't think it would, no. Well done. I'll tell you what's near the church, or not far, is some pylons. High voltage.
There's pylons, high voltage down below us, straight in front of us. Or is it looking too wet over there?
I don't know. I think the church is just over the brow there. There's
What do you reckon that is then, Richard, that thing in the ground there? Have you got an idea? You'd need to excavate it.